Okay, so Segway says that their new Xafari electric bike, which I'm reviewing today, can get up to 20 miles per hour in just around 5 seconds. So let's test that out in 3, 2, 1, boom, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we hit 20 miles per hour here on the display pretty quickly. So yeah, it can definitely do it. And so yeah, again, this is the Segway Xafari electric bike. It does have a price tag of $2,399. It does come with a 750 watt motor that can get you up to 28 miles per hour using pedal assist, and also up to 20 miles per hour using throttle. And we'll test that out in my speed test a little bit later. And this is promising up to an 88-mile range. So that's with the 48 volt, 936 watt hour battery. And you also get dual suspension and all of the bells and whistles with an e-bike coming from Segway. And that's one of the things I really do appreciate from Segway, is that they don't cheapen out or go the standard route when it comes to the build quality of their bikes, and also just even the design and the framing and stuff. When you look around this thing, you can tell that they definitely thought about all the little touches. So they actually have 2 USB ports on this for charging your phones or any other devices. So you get one USB Type-C port and one USB Type-A port. Typically, you want to see one or the other on an e-bike. And these USB ports do come in at 20 watts. And I also always like the little splashes of red that Segway adds to their bike. So on the controls for the front suspension, you have a little bit of red, and also the rear suspension itself is going to be red. And all of the logo placements and things are very nicely done. And also even on the handlebars, you'll find a very unique control system, because you actually have a scroll wheel that you can use to scroll up and down the 2.5-inch display on this bike, which is a color display, but is a little small for my taste. I don't know why they made it so small with the bike being this big. Yeah, anyway, on the main screen, when you use a scroll wheel, it will actually be going up and down the different levels of pedal assist on this bike. And then you can also tilt the scroll wheel left and right to be able to navigate through different other screens. So you have one screen that will show you more information about your trip summary and your distance and stuff. And then you will have one screen that will be showing you your media playback controls, because you can connect your phone via Bluetooth to this bike. So if you are playing some music, control it from that screen. And then the next screen will actually be some turn-by-turn directions, which is nice. So now while using the Segway app on your phone, you can now set up some directions to a place, and then on the display, it will give you those turn-by-turn directions, which is nice. So you can leave your phone display off and you don't have to waste battery with that. And then the next screen, or the last screen, will actually be some settings and stuff. So you do have a walking mode here, and that will actually turn on the motor just a little bit to help you along if you are walking alongside your bike. Maybe you want to walk it up a hill or just move it around your garage or something. So that's nice, but part of me does wish that they did it like other e-bike companies, where you just need to press down on like a button on the controls to be able to activate the walking mode, because this is a little bit more like you have to go into the settings and then select this thing to do it. A lot of times when I am using walking mode, I just want to do it right away. So this takes a few more seconds. Now you also have some other settings to be able to change the horn sound. So this is the default sound, which is a little bit like a beep beep sound from a cartoon or something, but you have 2 other sounds. I think one sounds like a bell and stuff, but yeah, you can change that there. You can change the volume of the sounds in this screen as well, and also you can turn off all the sounds if you just don't want them. Oh, and just like with the USB port, Segway has also doubled up on the horns or bell sounds, because you actually do have a physical bell here that you can use if you don't want to use the electronic horn. Okay, so now for my speed test. So this bike does ship to you as a Class 2 electric bike, meaning that 20 miles per hour is going to be what you're topping out with at least the throttle. So we're going to see what we get with throttle and also pedal assist in Class 2. But yes, you can unlock this to Class 3, and we'll test that out after this. But anyway, first test just using the throttle only, and let me open up my speedometer app. There we go. So 3, 2, 1, boom. And I'm in parking mode. Fail. So you got to press on the brake to get out of parking mode. Now I'm ready to go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Alrighty. This thing has some very fast starting power. We're already at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 miles per hour, and let's see that 20. Yeah, we got 20 miles per hour, and I felt that motor go ahead and start limiting itself. So the 750 watt motor has a lot more to give you, but Segway has chosen to make sure that you're not getting more than 20 here, at least in the Class 2 mode here. And so now I'm going to test out these hydraulic disc brakes here on the side of the road in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, yeah, really good braking power. Silent, but also powerful. All right, so now for my test with pedal assist, still in Class 2. So 3, 2, 1, boom, here we go. And I got the Shimano 8-speed shifter here in gear number 8. And we are already at 20, like we literally hit 20 by the time I looked down for the first time. So I'm talking about like 2-3 seconds, I think. we hit 20 miles per hour on this thing, and now I'm gonna give it some more power. But at this point, that motor is still limiting itself. So no matter how hard I pedal, we're not gonna be going over 20. And actually in gear 8, it's a little too much for this. Woo. All right, so now let's get this thing switched over to class 3. And to switch over to class 3 mode, in the Segway app, you need to go to the Segway Mobility Lab section. So just tap on that. And then now you have a couple different options here, but you need to go down to speed modes. And then now you can choose class 3. Now the first thing you will notice in class 3 mode is that the throttle doesn't work at all. But Segway has chosen to take the safer route when it comes to rules and regulations and laws, and depending on where you live and stuff. So they have disabled the throttle, but you can only now use pedal assist. So let's go ahead and see what we can get in this test. All right, so class 3 pedal assist test here in 3, 2, 1, boom, here we go. And we are off. We are rolling, baby. 19, 20 miles per hour, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27. And can we get 28? All right, we're at 27 miles per hour. I'm pumping very hard. I don't have my GPS app open, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be showing the same thing. But yeah, you should be able to top out at 28 miles per hour in class 3 mode. But just like with the other tests, I just felt that motor really could limit itself when it reached 27 miles per hour. And so yeah, I definitely think if this motor was just fully unlocked, I think you can definitely get into the low 30s, maybe even up to 35 or so. But again, Segway has chosen to go the safer route. Okay, so now for my hill test, and I'm expecting some pretty good results with this. So just using the throttle only to see what we can get on this pretty long and steep hill. So 3, 2, 1, boom. Here we go. So again, this motor has some power. We are already up to 12 miles per hour. Most e-bikes reach 12 at the top of this hill, but we're at 15, 16, 17, and 18 miles per hour is what we reached at the top of that hill. That is pretty impressive. This thing has some juice, and definitely again in class 2, it is limiting you for that top speed, but you have that power, you have 80 Newton meters of torque, and you just have what you need to be able to get up situations like that where you don't want to have to pedal, you just want to use the throttle. This thing has the power to take care of you. Now, visibility on this bike is really impressive, especially at night, because the headlight on this bike is one of the brightest that I've ever tested. It comes in at 1300 lumens, and so this thing will light up a long distance in front of you. You can also tilt it up and down to get that right angle that you want, and then also it does have a daytime running light as well for even more visibility, and also it does come with a high and low beam option. Now on the back, you will find a tail light / brake light, so when you press on the brakes, it will brighten up a little bit more. But one thing that is missing from this bike are going to be turn signals. I kind of automatically expected this to have turn signals, especially at this price, but it doesn't have any turn signals, which I want to see in the next version. So finally, out here in St. Louis, we do have a break from the heat, so it's really nice to be able to ride the bike today. But yeah, let's talk about how it is to ride this bike. So this bike does have a step-through design, so in the middle you have a nice open space to be able to swing your leg in between to be able to actually get on and off of this bike. And the riding position of this bike for me is actually pretty comfortable, so I am sitting forward just a little bit, but it actually feels really nice. But you can also adjust the angle of the handlebars as well, so you can lean it towards you or away from you to get that right angle. And for the actual weight of the bike, it comes in at 92.5 pounds, so not a light e-bike at all. So just be aware of the weight depending on how you plan to use this thing and move it around and store it. And the recommended rider height for this bike is between 5'1" and 6'2", and the total payload capacity, so the maximum weight that this bike can handle, is up to 352 pounds, and 55 of those pounds can actually be carried on the rear rack. Now this bike also does have 26 by 4 inch fat tires, so this is different from the typical 20 by 4 inch fat tires that you might see on most e-bikes these days. So this is really a nice in between in sizes, so it's really good for being on a paved surface like I am right now to going on a very crappy road here. And I'm going downhill, but the treading on these tires do give me some really good, nice grip, and these 2-piston Tektro hydraulic disc brakes do allow me to press on the brakes with really good kind of security. And also this bike does have that front and rear suspension, where the front suspension does have 70 millimeters of travel and the rear suspension does have 60 millimeters of travel. And let me avoid this water here, I'm not trying to get wet, but this bike does have front and rear fenders if I do need to go into a puddle. But yeah, overall the ride quality and the bounciness of the suspension is really fine-tuned tune, I would say. And this bike isn't really targeted for like off-road type of people or like a mountain bike or anything like that. But I think the combination with the tires and also the suspension and also this powerful motor that allows me to stop and start and get up to 28 miles per hour with the throttle or 28 miles per hour with the pedal assist, it does make this bike very capable of going off-road. Now let's talk about the seat. So at first glance, I wasn't really sure how comfortable the seat was going to be because it did look a little small for someone like me who's over 200 pounds and has a little bit of a wide bottom. But actually after riding it, I did find that the seat was way more comfortable than what I thought it was going to be. Now with that being said, I'm personally still going to swap it out for a third-party seat that's just going to give me some more width to be able to make it even more comfortable for those long distance type of days. But if you are smaller than me, you might not need to do that. Now this bike does have 12 levels of power assist, so this is going to be very useful for this hill that I went down earlier, which is relatively steep. But yeah, this is going to be actually utilizing both the torque sensor and also a built-in gyroscope to be able to actually notice when you're going up a hill and adjust the power that the motor is going to be giving you while you're pedaling to be able to make this super easy. So you can tell I'm not out of breath at all. I'm just getting up this hill very nice and easy, but that motor was able to make that possible. So it's nice having that combo sensor to be able to automatically adjust to when I'm going on flat land like I am right now, or when I'm going up a hill to make the pedaling even nicer. And man, it's pretty overgrown out here now. Normally they cut all of this down by the time it's summertime out here, and normally I'll be riding over there, but that grass is a little bit too high for me right now, so I'm gonna stay on this bike path. Oh, and this bike only comes in one single color, so no options with that. Well, actually I stand corrected. So I'm actually editing this video right now, and I just checked their website, and they recently added this new red color for this bike, which looks pretty nice. So yeah, you have two options now, including this really cool red. But this bike is going to be durable because as far as the water resistance rating, when it comes to the battery, it's rated IPX7, and when it comes to the body of the bike, it's rated IPX5. Now, if someone steals your bike or you just happen to lose this big old thing for some reason, this bike does also support Apple Find My, so you'll be able to find it in the Apple Find My app, and then also it does have GPS positioning as well. And some more anti-theft measures is the fact that you can have it set so when you do turn the bike off, it will actually go ahead and lock the rear wheel so no one can just roll up to your bike and actually roll it off with it. Now they can still pick it up and stuff, but they're not going to be able to just hop on and start pedaling. And it normally makes a little bit of clicking sound and you hear it doing this magic, but now I should not be able to push this forward when I go here. And I also do have the built-in alarm set as well, so we should hear the alarm go off here. So, and you hear that? It flashes the lights. And now I'm going to try to push the bike. I'm trying to push it, but this bike is not moving at all. Again, I can pick it up, but that's going to be a lot more work than someone just being able to come up here and push your bike off. Oh, and once this alarm is going off, it will actually notify you inside of the app as well. So you can be inside of the store, you can be at your home, but you'll be notified that someone is trying to steal your bike. All right, so now let's talk about range for this bike. So again, up to 88 miles is going to be the maximum perfect conditions riding at the slowest that you can on this bike. But the one thing I like that Segway has done with this bike is that on their website, they put up this little chart to show you exactly if you're going this speed, how much range you should actually expect to get with this bike. So that's pretty nice to see. But yeah, for me, I've been riding around for the last like 3 days or so, filming and doing stuff, and I'm at 33% and I have like 28 miles on this bike. And I would say that's pretty good because I've been mostly using the throttle, and I weigh around 220 pounds or so. And then also I do have my camera backpack. Typically I don't have it on now, but I've been carrying my camera backpack with me that adds some extra pounds, and my voice is shaking on this ground that I'm on right now. But yeah, I think the range is actually really good for a single battery design. Oh, and the battery can also be taken out of the bike to be taken inside to charge. So use one of the keys that comes with it to take off first the battery cover, and then now you need to unplug the battery and then just pull it out, and now you can take it inside. And it'll take around like 6 hours or so to get this thing fully charged. But you can also just leave the battery inside the bike if you want to, and then plug it in that way if you don't want to have to hassle with that. Okay, so final thoughts about this Segway Xafari bike. I like that Segway really took its time with the design. They really thought out everything. So it looks really nice, but also super functional too. And then you get some power with this motor. Yes, I do wish I can go 28 miles per hour while using the throttle. But as I mentioned earlier, I don't really miss it that much just because of how fast and quick this bike is. And also the ride quality is really nice. And you also throw in a really functional app that gives you a lot of features. I forgot to talk about some of those before, but you can customize the home screen of the app to have certain quick actions if you just want to quickly get to battery information or changing different settings on the bike. And also I think it can integrate with like Google Health and other things too. There's a lot of stuff you can do inside of the app. And so yeah, I think Segway just made a bike that really does stand out compared to other e-bikes in this price range when it comes to everything, when it comes to the finish of this bike. But yes, you can get a cheaper bike that can go faster than this. So if you are interested in something like that, you have a lot more options for around like, you know, $1,500 and even less that can get you, 32 miles per hour or something like that using a throttle. But if the top speed isn't the #1 priority for you, there's a lot of good things about this bike that I think a lot of people will like. So I'll drop a link down below in the description of this video that will take you to Segway's website or somewhere else where you can buy this bike. So make sure you check that out. It might be an affiliate link, and if it is, it does help support this channel, which I really do appreciate. But let me know what you think about this Segway Xafari down in the comments below. But like always, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.